House of Reps queries the importation of adulterated fuel. Senate lifts hopes of pensioners. And later on the program,
there is an existing and electoral act.
Honourable Magaji Dua'Aliyu will join me to talk about the delayed assent to the electoral bill. This is the Hallowed Chambers on TVC News. I am Tijesu Adeoye. The House of Representatives has started a probe into the mystery surrounding the importation of adulterated petrol into the country. The lower legislative chamber is seeking answers from the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the Standards Organization of Nigeria, the Nigerian Customs Service, and other regulatory agencies over their roles in the importation of bad petroleum products that will be consumed by Nigerians.
According to reports, the scarcity was as a result of adulterated petrol circulation, upon the discovery of which the federal government ordered the stoppage for further distribution of the product. Aware that poor quality was noticed about a week ago, when many car units of motorists were reportedly damaged, and consumers allegedly started arresting and suing retail outlet owners for selling them products which damage their vehicles.
The committee should also ascertain whether the importation, distribution, and dispensing of the toxic petroleum or petrol in Nigeria from January to date conforms to the international standard.
And then considering the amount of subsidy that is always paid on this product, then someone somewhere will go far as bringing adulterated fuel into this country is unacceptable.
Pensioners are already looking forward to better days as the bill to amend Nigeria's Pension Act scales second reading. The bill will provide for a definite percentage a retiree can withdraw from their retirement savings account and end grey areas that will end the long sufferings of Nigeria's pensioners.
Overseer can claim ignorance of the long drawn-out anguish of retirees from the civil service, Nigerian prison service, universities, and parastatal among other federal agencies in this country. These retirees, rather than enjoy retirement after selflessly serving their fatherland, have continued living misery and pain, leading to disease and even death, that they cannot easily assess their benefits.
The bill or the act provides that investments are going to be carried out by these fund administrators, and at the end of the day, it will add up to what your benefit is going to be in the long run. Where are they doing the investment? What is the accrued interest or benefit to those investments?
When the agency or the law put a clause that it can give them a lump sum without a definite figure, without a definite percentage, and then the agency will not determine, we will give you this much, and that is what you go with.
Joining me now on the program is Honourable Magaji Dua'Aliyu, representing Birnin Kudu, Burji Federal Constituency in Jigawa State. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you.
The general elections is barely 1 year away. What is next for Honourable Magaji Dua'Aliyu?
My next plan is in God's hands. We are only but a pencil in the hand of God, and we pray that God will answer our prayers and direct us. So I think it's not yet time to decide on where to lead. Since we are representing people, we'll subject ourselves to them. If we have done well, it's left to our people to bring us back or to elevate us. But for now, we are only in that mood.
There are insinuations the president may not sign the Electoral Act Amendment Bill once again. Why is it difficult for this parliament to veto Mr. President's assent power?
You call it initiation. So the president, even if he's not going to sign it, I'm sure he will have a reason for not signing it. So we'll wait until then, when he did not sign it, and let us hear what are his reasons for not doing that. And I hope and wish this time around he will sign it.
And how much more can Nigerians wait for a new electoral law with barely 1 year to the general elections?
No, you see, we have an electoral act already existing. So this is just an amendment version. So we have a legal framework to continue election. So it is, since the laws are dynamic, they are to be changed. It's not something constant. So we expect that that the president will sign them, and Nigerians should have to understand that there's an existing an electoral act.
You're one of the ranking members of the House of Reps. How impactful has been your representation?
With a lot of humility, I did extremely very well. I will soon be inviting you to my constituency to on-the-side assessment of what we have done. I have received commendation, more especially from the press corps in National Assembly. Has been one of the most conscientious members of this parliament. That's very gratifying that the journalist was choose to award me this honor. At the home level, I've been doing very well. I received commendation from my governor, from my constituents, and from our leader, Dau'Aliyu, that we have done very well. But something happened last week that touched my heart. I never thought when they said there is fake news. Somebody printed a news that I was whether stoned or malign. It's just a malicious news. It never happened. I went to commission 50 projects, and everything went well. We are with the governor, with the deputy governor in the presence, the state assembly member, and the council chairman of that particular local government. So I believe that this issue of censorship on fake news, I will be among the vanguard of supporting, trying to control the media.
But those people accuse you of not doing enough to make their lives more meaningful.
But that was not true. In Brununkudu Boji, I attracted federal College of Education Special. It's one of the bills that the president has assented to, establishment of a school. Even if I'm a governor, that is what I'm going to do. I have influenced in that community over 1,000 boreholes. We have built over 30 feeder roads. We built almost 10 third roads. We have provided for school. I have a hostel in each and every community where we have a high institution in my state. I provide scholarship. I'm a star. People like me in my community. To compare somebody who is hungry with food, I'm well connected. I don't condone thuggery. So I am happy now. I see they are reversing themselves with the good news.
What then do you think was the motive behind the allegation?
I think it's a success. Probably people I think they can retard the hands of progress, which I think you can bear me witness. Joke, we have been here for some time, and I feel I'm one of the people that earn the respect of the journalists in this building. I have an honor. I have integrity. So I feel that that will not pay them.
Let's look at the power sector. Labour has repeatedly called for a revisit of the country's privatization process. What is your take?
My heart bleeds on the issue of what transpired in the power sector. The consolation is that we're working hard to ensure that things are done better. Take example of the privatization of the discourse. Probably they were just shared according to people who has political weight or favor in different zones. I think that's what actually happened. It was not properly done, but I'm not asking to cancel it. But we have to find a way to ensure the proper thing has been done. Take example of what happens in Abuja disco. You know, so the disco has been now taken over. So some of the discourse are not really functioning. So that's where we are. When you go into privatization, Who has what? Who owns Ibadan Disco? Who owns Port Harcourt Disco? Who owns the Kano Disco? Who owns Kaduna Disco? Who owns Abuja Disco? How did they come about it? Was it fairly done? Was it done with good intention? That I cannot answer. But you can see the result now. Some of the discos are falling down. Already there's new management, active management for Abuja Disco. Ibadan Disco has gone into the hands of the agency to look for those who has date. So you can see the problem is multitude.
And what reason is adduced for that?
I think when they were privatized, they were privatized to different groups of people, not really who are competent or who are really there to ensure that there is progress on this line.
We still have cases of estimated billings.
As you rightly said, you see, we are looking at it generally. Why are we still having to do with these issues? Because almost all the discourse, when they were privatized, I think, I'm sorry to use this word, they went to the wrong hands. I think there was no proper due diligence. And people had lacked the capital or the money to run this business. And on other side, there is parity between the infrastructure in different kind of disco zones. If we take example of Lagos, the infrastructure in Lagos is existing for a very long time, whereas in Kano is not much, or in Benin. So these are the problems we are having. We have about 6 discos. So we have to look at their efficiency. What are they doing correctly? What are they doing wrongly? When are we going to have power? From which source? So already we have 6. We have the discos, we have the junkos, we have other agencies that provide power to Nigerians. All this must be looked into. How were they privatized? Who owned what? What is happening? You see, the problem is massive. Sometime you find out that there are even some junkos, you understand, that Nigerians are paying for the power they have not consumed. So the problem in the chain is massive. Who has a bigger problem? Is it the junkos? Whether it is the transmission that is owned by government or the distribution companies? So the problem is massive. Even when you hear saying that we have 5,000 megawatts, for how long do we sustain those 5,000 megawatts? For 1 minute? And we'll be celebrating? And you see, the biggest irony is where, like an example that federal government is doing this, I'm losing the name, to call it, to ensure that there's a particular way of doing things which we are not doing. Let me give an example. There's what they call a new federal government power core that is in charge of this Siemens project. This Siemens project. But that project is a power project, but is now under federal ministry.
How does Nigeria wriggle out of this?
The regulatory agency to do their work. Wherever any of the component found wanting, he should be punished.
Does it mean the parliament is not doing its oversight correctly?
No, we are doing oversight. You see, there is a regulatory commission. So if they don't do their work, we, as their oversight, will take action on them. I'm reading from one of the submissions made to me that most of this discourse are going down.
What then is the problem of the power sector?
The problem in power sector is massive. It lags, it stands from policy, regulatory, and otherwise. What do I mean by policy? You see, the government will make a very good policy, but there will be human interference in the way and the manner these policies are run. Let me give you an example. The president has a very, very good, wonderful project called the Siemens project. But do you know who are anchoring the project? The project is now anchored by Federal Ministry of Finance. While we have a whole Federal Ministry of Power. So there are a lot of misalignment.
And why is the National Assembly silent about agencies not backed by law?
We are not silent. I'm speaking to you now. We speak to every day. I'm sure the president would have this. And we are going to act. You see, we have well laid down regulatory framework, but they are abused. So some people have to go to jail. If you see the colossal amount being wasted in the power sector, is enormous. We would never have light if we continue this way. In generation sector, we call what they call take or pay. We went and signed an agreement that if you went and cook a whole bag of rice, whether you sell it or you don't sell it, government will pay you. So when they produce power, whether we can use the power, you see, the installed capacity in terms of megawatt is over 30,000 megawatts, 30,000 megawatts. But we can only transmit 5,000. And even when we transmit 5,000 megawatt, for how long?
We have heard of several interventions by the government, including subsidy to discos. Yet we are where we are.
This is one of the things that we must investigate. Do you know who is doing that? It's the central bank. Without the recourse to anybody. The central bank governor is a minister for power. He's a minister for agriculture. Everything is in central bank. There is no recourse to law and order. I don't know how it is done, but I don't know what is happening.
What has been the achievement of the 9th House almost 3 years down the line?
Number one is unity. For the very first time, the House is united. Because the moment we go into that chamber, we all work together and we have one focus. I think we have to commend the Speaker for bringing unity and love for the country and purposive leadership. That's one of our number one achievement. Our number of the bills that we first suppose the first parliament. So also the number of the motion we did. Let me commend myself before you commend me. One of the bills signed by the president is a bill to establish Federal of Education Special in Burunkudu. That is my favorite constituency. We have a similar school for people with special need that has been existing in Oyo town of Oyo State. So the government has done, the parliament has done a lot in that line. But you see, our democracy is still young. People see us as just advisory. When we talk, sometimes hardly does even some protesters reply your memos. But the president has done well. He has been trying to bring us together so that we will walk in the same line. It's not an issue of whether you are from the same political party or no. It's an issue of working for the country.
But the general belief out there is that the current leadership of the parliament lacks the wherewithal to shake the table.
When they are scoring you at the score of 10 things, probably you didn't do, probably to the first in mind, he should look at other things. If he said number one, we didn't better the president, it's a problem for him. What of the other work we have been doing? What of the budgetary? The budget we are able to bring it back to the January to December cycle. What about all the bills we did? What about the intervention? Let me tell you. Without this National Assembly, there wouldn't be any democracy. This is the symbol. Without our intervention in various federal constituency, the pressure would have been more on Nigeria and Nigerians. Some states, local government would never see any federal government project. These parliamentary, these members of this National Assembly, we have the wherewithal, we have the power to ensure that we do the right thing. We are not afraid of the president, not at all. We are only trying to exhaust all the possible avenue to have an amicable solution to these Electoral Act issues.
Government promised to roll out free meters for the people, yet we don't get to see these meters. What is the problem?
I would like to go and interview the Minister of Power. Honourable Minister, where are the meters promised to Nigerians by the President? We will soon call the Minister of Power and do a public hearing on this issue, because I'm aware about it. The way you had it, that's the way I hear about it. There is no any official communication on this table from Minister of Power on this issue. Be it as it may, we are going to investigate it, and we'll do our oversight on this. Already our members are outside now collecting data on what went wrong or what went right.
Should Nigeria be worried with the recent spate of military coups in Africa?
Yes, we should be worried. Sudan, Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, only God knows who is the next. It is now back on us, the politicians, to do the right thing and to listen to our people. Try and make the difference. We should also remember that we are only sent to Abuja just as an errand boys. We have to report back.
So it speaks to good governance.
Yes, good governance. There must be fairness. There must be justice. Where there is no fairness, where there is no justice, there is no equity, there is going to be a problem.
Will you be throwing your hat in the ring in the coming elections?
I can't answer this question, but I know that I'm getting to by next year I'll be 6 years old. So if my conscience said that I should retire, I'll be very willing to take retirement. If they ask me to continue, I will continue.
And finally, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, kept everyone on the edge of their seats when he announced that the minority leader, Ainaya Baribe, had sent a very important letter that he wants read out on the floor of the Senate. Senator Ahmed Lawan's emphasis on the importance of the letter created a false impression that the minority leader was defecting from the PDP, following in the footsteps of Senator Emmanuel Bacha, who had just abandoned the position of deputy minority leader to pitch his tent with the APC.
Nobody is interested to hear what? Notice of meeting of the PDP Senate Minority Caucus.
For now, Senator Ainaya Baribe remains solidly in the PDP and continues to lead the minority party in the Senate. That's all on our program this week. You can watch a repeat broadcast on Sunday morning and also see it again on TVC News YouTube channel. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. Follow me on Twitter and all other social media platforms. My handle is @Dau'Aliyu TVC. Let's continue the conversation online. Thank you for watching. See you next time.